Hello, hello. Welcome back to You Mystery Tour. I'm Alex.
I'm Niku.
And today, I'm going to be talking to you about a mystery that was suggested by someone. Shout out Afia, who requested this mystery.
Our first request.
Yes. So this is it's actually a very
milestone.
interesting one. I was very unaware of this one, and so were you, which is why I've taken it.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you're unaware of mysteries.
I have heard of every true crime case. So
Not this one?
Yeah, for me, I was surprised I didn't know about this one. So shout out Afia, you've managed to do something there.
Mm-hmm. So this is the mystery at the Oslo Plaza Hotel.
Let me guess. Is it in Oslo?
No.
Oh, what?
Yeah. No, yeah, it is, sorry.
Imagine.
I know. So, yeah, let's begin.
I'm ready.
On May the 31st, 1995, a young 5'3" woman with blue eyes and dark short hair registered at the Oslo Radisson Blue Plaza Hotel in Norway. She was given access to room 2805.
I feel like this will come in.
Okay, so she got there, she registered for a room, but what was already slightly odd about this situation is that she actually managed to get into the room or get given the room without providing a credit card. And this broke almost every single hotel policy that they have.
So why was that? Do you know?
It's still unclear to this day how she managed to kind of wrangle her way around.
Okay.
But as we've seen from recent shows, an example is Inventing Anna. People can use their words to get around things quite easily. But yes, so the guest registered as a 21-year-old Jennifer Fairgate, but at points during her stay, she twice signed her name as Jennifer Fergate. So Fairgate, Fairgate, and Fergate, Fergate.
So it's the same but spelled differently.
Yes. Yeah. So she was also with a man when she signed in. In the registration paperwork, he went by the name Louis Fairgate. And he was reported by witnesses as acting quite strange at the desk as they checked in. And the receptionist at the hotel also noticed that Jennifer Fairgate had an East German accent, in her opinion. Okay, so they've checked in on May the 31st.
Jennifer Fairgate is
not
a very German name, though, is it?
Well,
East German, quite specific.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
East German
it was the. I think it was their interpretation of what who they thought it was.
The people must know German themselves, because if I heard a German accent, because I'm not from Germany,
totally,
I would never know it. Which it's like hearing a British accent.
Yeah, because we can tell where people sound like they're from. Yeah. But yeah, so on the night of June the 3rd, a security guard went up to the 20th floor to check on the guest, Jennifer Fairgate, after it was discovered that she had not provided payment info for the room.
How long after she checked in?
May the 31st to June the 3rd.
Okay, so it's 4 days.
4 days. Yeah, I think you're right, yeah. So after it had been discovered that she had not paid for she provided no payment information for the room, so no credit card was noted down. And the security guard saw a do not disturb sign on the door, but knocked anyway. And as he knocked, this loud noise rang out. He presumed it to be a gunshot. So he ran away. He left to inform the head of security, which is a bit strange. He bolted off and to personally inform someone rather than, because he had a radio with him, but he didn't choose to use that two-way radio to radio for assistance or anything like that. He ran off to get someone. And then 15 minutes later, he and others came back to open the door. And this door was double bolted from the inside. So they had to kind of force their way in.
Is that standard for hotels?
You can have bolts on the door, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, from inside, just for privacy reasons. But as they opened the door, they got this rancid smell. It was horrible, and they actually found Jennifer Fairgate dead on the bed. So she was holding a handgun, and she had a gunshot wound to the front of her forehead. And there also seemed to be indication of another gunshot into one of the pillows on the bed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the pillow, not the pillow that she was on. It's like a different pillow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was further away than what she was lying on.
So it's almost like a missed shot.
We'll get yes. Well, it's unknown. It's a mystery. So her death was actually ruled a suicide. So she was found with this gun in her hand, which ended up being a Browning 9mm pistol. However, there seemed to be one thing they did notice there seemed to be a lack of gunshot residue and blood on her hand. So the assumption is that she shot herself in the head, but there seemed to be a lack of blood on her hand, gunshot residue, and in the hotel room they found no identification. And it turned out when they inspected the Browning pistol further, it's turned out that the serial number was actually rubbed off, cleaned away. Yeah, so
it's like bootlegged.
Well,
maybe.
yes, or
no.
they like sand it off so that it's unidentifiable.
Oh, okay, yeah, because then it
So
could be
that black
traced,
mark, exactly.
traced to your
Yeah.
name.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So why would she sand it off if she's done it to herself? What has she got to hide?
Let's find out. Well, we're not going to find out, but so whilst looking through the belongings as well, it was found that she had no purse. She didn't have government ID. She didn't have a passport. She didn't have credit card. She didn't have money. And while she did have a small black-wheeled suitcase, which contained several expensive shirts and jackets, all of them were black, she actually brought nothing to wear from the waist down except what she was already wearing when she checked in.
Okay.
So she had also removed every tag, shout out back to
Somerton Man.
the Somerton Man, from all of her clothing.
Oh my God, they're linked.
And they also found 25 rounds of ammunition for the pistol as well. And finally, they also found a newspaper in the room which had 2816 written on it. So, yes.
Doesn't match the room number.
Mm-hmm.
2816, but it's close.
So, while there was no way... Because obviously back in the day, there was no way of knowing when someone had left the room, since the security cameras were never checked in those days for some reason. They never really checked them, and I think from what from my very brief knowledge of that era, they used like tapes.
Definitely.
So they would have to overwrite them.
Definitely.
So
yeah.
they wouldn't keep them.
I actually think they still do. They still overrun tapes. To
Probably.
this day.
Yeah. DVDs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very old school because all the security systems have been in place since those days, and nobody wants to update them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why security footage is such low quality all the time.
Because it takes up so much room. Yeah, well, you can get more of it on the space. But while they couldn't do that, they actually had a log of every time the key card was used.
Okay.
On the room, either assumedly to go in, because it's only to go in. So let's look at the timeline based on these key card logs. So Wednesday, the 31st of May, the woman calls the Radisson Blu to let them know she wants to check in and tells them that 2 people will be coming. So again, Wednesday at 10:44 p.m, the woman enters her room 2805 for the first time. On Thursday, the 1st of June, at 12:21 a.m, someone leaves the room. And then at 8:34 a.m, the card is used again. And then at 12:50 p.m. on Thursday, the room is cleaned. So according to the steward, who was called, I'm gonna butcher this name, but Vigdis Velo, and a 19-year-old trainee, the room was unoccupied during the time, while the bed had been made and it appeared to have not been slept in at all. And the extra duvet provided for Jennifer's guest had not been used.
But the man did turn up after her. A man was with her who was
when they
acting
checked
funny.
in.
Yeah, so he might have left in the AM, but not slept or something.
Yeah, well, it looked like the bed hadn't been, so neither of them had used it.
Yeah, okay.
So on Friday at 8:50 a.m, Jennifer returns to her room after 20 to 24 hours away. And then on Friday, the 2nd of June, at 11:03 a.m, Jennifer's new card key is used again. I say new card key, I think she had to go and get another one a new
She
one.
lost it or something.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And then at 8:23 p.m. on Friday the 2nd of June, Jennifer orders room service. If you're interested, it was a bratwurst and potato salad.
Bratwurst.
A bratwurst.
What's
It's
that?
like a sausage.
Worst.
Yeah, it's a big sausage.
It's from Germany, no?
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, bratwurst are German, I'm pretty sure, yeah. It's a good shout. So a staff member called Kristen Anderson, she delivers the food, and she was actually given a tip of 50 kroner, which is around $5.50, which is about 5 times the usual tip level, and reports again that the room looks untouched and, in her words, almost sterile.
She sounds like she's using this room as a base.
So, you get to Saturday the 3rd of June at 8:04, and the Oslo Plaza's head of security enters the room and finds Jennifer dead. And 2 duvets are found on the bed. So she's obviously asked for an extra duvet for the person staying with her. But again, neither of them have been used, but the duvets have been moved. Right, so... So she only had a handful of records entering the room, which...
Do we know that it's definitely her that's leaving the room?
No, we just know the key has been
because
used.
she's got a new key card, so there could be someone else that has a key card too.
Usually when they get a new key card, it resets. So you can't use the old one again. This is current day. So whether this is still the same, if it's the same kind of technology, I don't know.
And we don't know if the key card just stopped working and she handed it back and got
Correct.
a new one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there was only a handful of records in the room, implying that she probably spent almost all of her time in there. But her logs combined with the cleaning staff's accounts were quite suspicious, with the biggest gap, as we said, being between Thursday to Friday morning before her death on the Saturday. So this was almost exactly 24 hours. And it could assume that she meant she was out of her room, or she was either in her room or out of her room the whole time. It's quite hard to tell.
From 11:03 a.m. until when she was found.
No, from Thursday at 12:50 p.m. to Friday 8:50 a.m.
She was out of the room, but I thought she got room service after 8:50 p.m. a.m.
She got room service at 8:23 p.m.
Oh, 8:23.
She returns at 8:50 a.m.
Oh, right, okay.
So when she was found dead, investigators only checked for alcohol, and they didn't check for drugs in her system.
How annoying.
And it was also noted that she had very extensive dental work done that was done in gold and porcelain, which could indicate that she did have a wealthy background, because I think back in those days it was pretty unusual for normal people to have that much dental work done with that kind of quality.
Dental work's always been kind of a private job, like a private insurance kind of thing.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still feel like dental work is different to normal health work. Not normal health, but
I know what you mean.
Full body kind of
like
thing.
Veneers.
Yeah, I just think dental work has always been more expensive and not as prioritized unless you were better off.
Yeah. So yes. So upon further investigation, it turned out that Jennifer had... This is us looking at after the death, after the fact. It turned out that Jennifer had also provided a fake address when she registered for a small village in Belgium. So she had provided a real street in a town and a phone number consistent with the local area codes, but her house number was non-existent, as well as her phone number didn't exist. And locals who lived there, reporters or investigators went there and asked some of the locals who lived in the place called Verlaine, which is where she'd said that she was from, or she was residing. And people who lived there their entire lives could not recognize her. So they had no information to go by to help kind of identify her conclusively. And then Interpol and the Belgian government also, they had no records of a woman by her names ever existing. So like both checked Jennifer Fergate and Fairgate.
Mm-hmm.
And also they didn't have any matches to her fingerprints across the continent.
Okay. Continent?
Yeah.
Well, as in
Europe.
Europe. Interesting. Would you not need one for your passport? Would you not?
She didn't have a passport.
How'd she get to Oslo?
We don't know.
Okay.
And furthermore, an autopsy revealed that Jennifer had undigested food in her body. Now, this is significant. This gets a bit slightly complicated because it's the same food that she ordered from the room service 24 hours before her death. So the undigested food suggests that Jennifer died the same day that she ate that meal. So the question is, did she eat the meal on the... I'm going a bit forward here, but did she eat... If she ate the meal the day that she ordered it, the day of the death is inconsistent because she ate it on the Friday, not the Saturday. If she held off the meal, she just let it go cold and then ate it on the Saturday morning before she died, then it makes sense. So it's whether she left her food for 24 hours and then ate it, or if she ate it and then there's something that's happened.
So right now, the time of death is actually when she was found, the day that she was found.
At the moment, they're saying that it was, because they heard, the security guy heard a gunshot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she has undigested food in her system that would have been digested if it had been in there if it had been there since Friday.
Say that again?
So if she had had the food on Friday, it would have been digested by the time that she was found.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so she
on
won't
Saturday.
have had it on Friday. Unless she was killed on Friday. But then
the plot thickens.
The gunshot.
Whoa.
I just don't... The gunshot sound, I mean. And why would you leave a sausage for 24 hours?
Well, you're saying she did.
I'm guessing she doesn't have a fridge in there.
No, they wouldn't have done.
So it's just like...
Maybe they did. I don't know, actually. That's a good point. I'm not sure. But so... It was deemed a suicide, but most literature... This is where we're going a bit into some maybe theories slightly.
I mean, they deem it a suicide
I'll give you some,
when they can't figure it out.
I want to give you this information because I think it will help you make like a decision of what you think maybe happened. But I'll hold off on some final theories at the end. So it was deemed a suicide, but most of the literature that's come out of this case seems to lean to the side of Jennifer most likely didn't kill herself. So again, going back for one, the death scene in the room raises major doubts about, evidence, her pistol grip, the postmortem's pistol grip. So a retired crime scene investigator states that it would have most likely been dropped after shooting due to a hard recoil. So if she had shot herself in the head, the recoil of the gun would have essentially, the motion would have taken it out of her hand when she died, whereas she's found holding it. She's found gripping it. And it turns out that her grip of the gun, she had the trigger with her thumb. So the trigger was on her thumb. So there is a potential that she held it with her thumb upside down and pulled it.
Why would you do that though?
Well, I'm not sure, but it's actually more consistent with the forehead thing because it's easier to squeeze like that than it would be to that like that probably if you're pointing at your forehead.
You've got a point, yeah.
And then on the contrary, she didn't have any blood on her shooting hand, which kind of provides further evidence that the body could have been staged.
And gunshot residue. But I wonder if the stager would think so deeply into it to put the thumb. I suppose they could have.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
You get cases of setups where
all the time.
it ends up being
Not
like
all the time, but
well, it's not that rare where the person that's setting it up puts it in the wrong hand of the the person's left-handed and they put it in the right hand and stuff like that, and that's how it gets found out. So maybe they did test it out,
So as for her identity, I think this is leaning towards what I think you're maybe not there yet, but your thoughts are kind of indicating that you might end up there. A Norwegian intelligence operative by the name of Ole Caldiger believes that Jennifer was a secret agent.
Mm-hmm.
So she was she was a group leader of Norway's intelligence service called E14, and she again noted the mysterious nature of the crime scene, including the position of the gun, the evidence recovered, and there was actually a reconstruction of events of her coming and going. And she seemed to only leave her room for a few times, but for long intervals. So she was quoted as saying, "From my point of view, this is a very well carried out intelligence operation. What actually What actually happened there is very hard to say, but I have a feeling that she was executed." So Caldiger pointed out that the registration number was removed from the gun, saying it in a very professional way. Again, removing clothing tags, he noted was also a common thing for agents in the field.
So the labels were cut off.
Correct.
And it was common practice to be doing that if you were an agent. Can I just say, the same thing happened with Somerton Man. His labels were cut off.
And he was killed in a mysterious way.
Yes, and it was like in a way that no one could determine why or how. Not as obvious as a gunshot, but just putting it out there. Maybe we found out his identity there.
Maybe we need to revisit it. So, sorry, Ola...
We'll link the Somerton Man, by the way.
In the description below.
Yeah.
Yeah, remind me to do it. So, yeah, Caldiger also was quoted as saying, if she was an intelligent agent, Jennifer, in quotes, she was killed in that way, both sides would be very quiet, he said. It's possible families were notified and paid never to come forward. So as in, if she was killed by another spy, like it was spy versus spy kind of thing, they wouldn't say, because, they can't say that she's not operative. It's one of those things that if you get caught, we won't claim you. I think James Bond. So since investigators again didn't check for drugs, again it is possible that someone could have drugged her and then knelt over her and fired the gun at point blank while she was unconscious.
Why didn't they check for drugs?
Yeah, it would also explain the lack of struggle if it was a murder over a suicide. So, in 2016 as well, her grave was exhumed and DNA collected. Exhumed. And the DNA was collected. However, it only confirmed she was of European heritage, though an analysis of her teeth put her at 24 the year of her death. So she also lied about her age.
How old did she say she was?
21.
21.
So she probably lied about her name, address, and her age. So now, some things to point out. That this is the final kind of piece before I would like to hear your opinion. But some final kind of things to point out is, one, starting with the food. So obviously, if Jennifer had eaten the food, we mentioned this before, on the day of receiving it, the autopsy would suggest that she dies the day before she was found. So if this is the case, what did the security hear on the 3rd, if she died on the 2nd? The second gunshot into the pillow. So the suicide theories imply that Jennifer had fired a test shot into the pillow before killing herself. However, if she was going to kill herself one day prior, on June the 2nd, then what did the head of security hear the following day? If the deceased was indeed some type of secret agent, an argument could be made that someone, maybe an assassin, killed her on the June the 2nd, stayed in the room through to June the 3rd to cover up the crime scene, staged the body, and then fired a warning shot. And then when the security bolted, they just exited the room because they left for 15 minutes. So it gave someone time to leave the room. Because
he went to get people, yeah.
Yeah. So there was time for them to leave.
He wasn't in the room when the guy went in, or he was maybe hiding.
No, there was no one else in the room, for sure, when they spoke to it.
So where was he? No, I mean when the security guard saw her.
So
when he went in and saw the body and then went to get help.
No, he didn't. That's not what happened. So what happened was he knocked on the door. He heard a bang. He ran.
Oh, he just ran.
Got security. 15 minutes later, came back, and then they forced the door open.
He didn't open
So
the
he
door.
didn't see the dead body until the 15 minutes had passed.
They forced the door open, so it was locked from within, so no one's left.
Very good point. Very good point. Didn't think about that. Yeah. Yeah, unless there's like a window situation, those classics like slide out the window.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great point actually. Next thing to consider, the weapon isn't actually an authentic Browning pistol. So a weapons expert claims that the pistol is actually a Hungarian copy from the 60s or 70s that's compromised of several parts. Compromised, I think that's the word. So it's also reportedly a military weapon, which again could fuel the secret agent argument theory. And also, importantly, Jennifer's fingerprints were never found on her suicide pistol.
I didn't think there would be any fingerprints on there. It's definitely been wiped.
That's what, yeah. So there's that theory that someone possibly killed her and wiped the gun.
There needs to be her fingerprints. That's the deal kind of breaker there. It's the fact that her fingerprints are not on it.
Who knows?
I mean, she's dead, so how's she going to wipe them off?
That's a good point. So next thing to look at is Lewis Fairgate. So following their arrival at the hotel, he was never seen again. And there seemed to be no evidence of him ever staying in the room. But unfortunately, it's unclear if his involvement, identity, or location at the time of her death during her stay. So there's a lot of... And
he's never been located since?
No.
They've never been able to find him?
But he's probably given a false name as well.
But they know what he looks like. Can they not track?
This is 1955, 1955, I think.
Did you not say 1995?
I did, yes. Sorry. Okay. Silly me. Yeah,
I was thinking, do they have key cards in 1955?
I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking that when I was reading it. I was like, wow, technology's been here for a while.
And CCTV not being checked. I don't think it was there to begin with.
So now onto the recreation. So obviously we said that they did a recreation of the thing. So when recreating her potential suicide, it was actually deemed virtually impossible. Jennifer Fairgate was found holding the gun opposite-faced, which I'm not 100% sure what that means in terms of the way the gun was placed, I think. So it's potentially facing the wrong way from where it should have been facing if she had shot herself, with her thumb on the trigger, as we said, and the shot entering the front of her forehead. So after considering the fact that it was an assault weapon with heavy recoil and her small stature, the lack of fingerprints, and the fact that she had no gunpowder or blood on her at all, it's pretty hard to have shot yourself. We
need like Dexter onto this, like blood spatter analysis.
She was also for a suicide, she also seemed to be dressed very unusually. So she was wearing a luxury jacket, fancy top, skirt, stockings, and high heels, all black. And it was determined that she had also recently showered. So her outfit was compared to somebody getting ready to go to a club rather than preparing for their last moments.
Okay. So she probably wasn't expecting what happened to happen.
Well, yeah, we don't know. But yeah, she could have not been. And the final bit to point out is the newspaper, which I think is the most interesting bit. So the newspaper in the room had 2816 written of it, which could have referred to a nearby hotel room. Now, unfortunately, I don't understand what was going on in this hotel, but they didn't keep any records. Like, if someone died, you would think they would be like, right, freeze all the records. But hotel records were not kept long enough to see who was staying there at the time. But the guests in the neighboring room, 2818, came forward claiming that they did see a couple acting suspicious around Fairgate's room a week after her death. They also claimed that during Fairgate's stay, a Belgian man stayed across the hall and was also acting very unusually.
And her fake address was in Belgium.
So police actually tracked this man down.
Oh.
And asked how he learned of Fairgate's death. He claimed the front desk told him when he checked out that morning. And this threw even more suspicion, because besides being another Belgian connection, he was actually lying about that. Fairgate died the night after the man checked out, so they couldn't have told him at the desk that she was dead, because he was already gone.
He won't have known. It's not like he can predict the future.
Yeah, he had no plausible way of knowing until he watched the news or was approached by police. But it's unclear if this resulted in any new information. It probably didn't, and then after that, the trail went cold. So there's two theories I have here, but they're very Sam. I don't think they'll change, like sway you. I don't think so. I think I might say them, because I don't think they'll. Or do you want to speak first?
Yeah,
do you want to go
say
first?
them. I feel like
You feel like you've got an idea.
I can't. This is really difficult.
Uh-huh.
But I'll hear the theories.
So one of the theories put forward by the hotel staff was that she was actually a flight attendant.
Okay.
Her dark wardrobe, lack of luggage, was said to be a typical type of stewardesses used at the time, but it doesn't explain how she didn't have a passport with her. So it's like, how are you going to fly without a passport?
Also, flight attendants have that particular, branding.
Yep.
And
yeah, but you can take. They're usually pins and badges and stuff, so you can take those off. But also, I don't know of any airline that's just black.
No, they're very much flamboyant. They I don't think so, but okay.
And the other theory is pretty obvious one, that Louis Fairgate killed her, because he's not been able to track. He's not been tracked down by any. Like, no one's ever been able to track him down.
But he was not seen since.
Yeah. So that's the.
So he checked in, but he was never seen again. Checking out and in, out and in.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to take a very quick break, and then I would like to hear what you think.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your thoughts, theories, ideas? I have kind of a one, but I'm still unsure.
This is so difficult. First of all, I can't believe I've never heard of this. What I want to know is what is going on in Norway. Norway is, a non-dramatic country, I find.
Sorry, inhale.
You okay?
Yep. I know.
I just think, why are these so-called secret agents meeting up in Norway unless they're using it as a base for other countries? Like, they're in like some sort of neutral country, but we're dealing with maybe German type of situation. I don't know. Especially because she has like an Eastern German accent. And I think Belgium, they speak German, don't they?
Yeah.
Or they speak a mixture. Maybe we should look this up. Belgian.
Belgian language map. Dutch.
Oh
Dutch, French, and German.
Okay.
So yes,
it's kind of like sandwiched between all the countries. Yeah. So I wonder if she was. And is Belgium to the east of Germany?
No, west.
Oh, okay, because I was like, maybe
It's weird though, because like all the surrounding places are like the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, France, Switzerland, Austria, and Chechnya. Yeah, and Poland. But it's like, what? They're all pretty chilled, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know, but I just find it like kind of random that they're in Norway. Like Norway, I don't know.
Oh no, I'm talking. Sorry, yeah, I'm saying what Germany's surrounding. Sorry, you've thrown me off with the German bit. Where's Norway?
No, I was speaking about Norway.
Yeah, I was talking about what was.
If these people are German,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a reason why they are in Norway, and they don't have passports, so they've traveled in some sort of illegal way.
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry, just to clarify that what I just said surrounded Norway is actually what surrounds Germany. I was rocking the wrong bit. The only thing that surrounds Norway is Sweden and the sea.
Yeah, I knew you were talking about Germany.
Sorry.
But I think that they're not secret agents.
Okay.
I actually think it's drugs. I think it's a drug deal. And the reason why she doesn't have a passport is because she's entered the country with drugs.
Illegally.
Yeah. Maybe by ship, by car or something. And she's using the hotel as a base for dealings. That's why she's going away for so long. And that's why she's got a non-authentic gun, because maybe they're gun dealers.
You just said drugs. Drugs or guns or both.
Or I don't know, drugs, guns.
Or she got a one off the black market to protect herself.
Something like that, yeah. I feel like that's maybe how they got away with not giving a credit card. Maybe they're like threatening.
Or gave them, slip them a little note.
I don't know, like something like that maybe. Because I feel like secret agents and that kind of, those types of people, they have fake passports and they have that kind of professional...
Unless they were dropped in the country.
Maybe, yeah. I just feel like they're more organized than just like showing up.
I would tend, yeah. Although, I don't know, because the credit card thing to me leans towards the spy thing. I don't think it was a suicide. I think the more I think about it, the more you could probably hold a gun in a way that you did have your thumb on the trigger if you held it upside down, and you could squeeze it without hitting your fingers on it. Theoretically,
but why would you make it so hard for yourself? And also, I just feel like the fact that she's been shot in her head is execution style.
I think she was shot through. I think they shot her through the pillow.
And then they moved the pillow.
Well,
was there blood on the pillow though?
I don't think there was. Yeah.
So I think someone has shot her because of drugs, because it's like very execution style. It's like.
So what's your give me your timeline?
But it would be very interesting to know if there's windows in that room. If there is a way to get out of that room, because that for me.
I'm just gonna.
It's the fact that it was bolted from inside. There's no way someone left that room unless she shot herself.
There is. Oh god! There's a big curtain. So that's what it looks like. It's like a big. You enter the room, and then there's a bed straight on as you go through on your left, and then straight ahead of you is a big window. Whether that opens or not, in 1995 it probably did. Yeah,
I don't think there was any safety, so someone's left.
Okay,
there is a big window.
But then what if you're 2 something, you're probably on the 2nd floor. So unless you've got like one of those fire escape ladder things, we could see the outside of it as well. That can't be it. If that's it, there's no chance that they're able to get out of the window.
I thought it would be like an old school motel kind of looking place.
By the way, it's worth pointing out that before this, I haven't watched. So there's actually a Netflix series.
Is there?
With one of the episodes covering. So please feel free to go and watch that after you've watched the rest of our episodes from beforehand. But I haven't watched that. So I've got information from other sources. So they could have things additional that I've missed. Please feel free to let me know in the comments if I have missed anything, if there's anything I've got wrong. I don't think I've got anything wrong, except for that Norway was surrounded by all those countries, which is definitely wrong. But yeah, I think so.
Now that I think about it, actually, that gun, if that was an illegal gun, there would be no serial number on it anyway.
Yes.
So that's a legit gun.
It's not. It's not a Browning.
Yeah,
it's a replica.
But why is there a serial number that needs to be scored out? It's from Hungary as well, so we're talking about Central Europe again. Going back to that area.
I actually think drugs is a really good shout.
Yeah.
It's that, so in my head, when I was reading through everything, I thought that she was potentially scouting someone. That's why she was leaving for long periods of time, because she was, as you said, she was using the hotel room as a base, and then she was going out and investigating someone. And maybe it could have been the 2816 people, the people in the rooms a few down, and then someone got to her before she got to them. Because as I said, if there was a fight, they wouldn't have announced it because if they're both spies, you're not going to say anything. But I think I agree with you. I think it'd be good to be able to see the room both inside and out, because then you would know if someone could enter or exit through the window.
It would be interesting to see if she would have had a view of 2816 from her window.
She wouldn't have.
She wouldn't have.
They were all on the same.
Okay.
I think they were all on the same floor.
Okay. And the Belgian guy opposite her, he was in a different room, 2804 or something like that. So he wasn't in. So it seems like it's almost like a network, almost like a cartel or something, all staying in this hotel, and there's been a hit on someone, and it's her.
It could have been, I mean, it's. I think it was a hit. I think there was a hit, or as you said, a drug deal's gone wrong.
Well,
and they've taken
think about
everything.
it. She is wearing really expensive clothing. She's got expensive teeth work done.
It makes sense because because her finger. The thing that threw me off was that her fingerprints don't match anything. Which that's more spy.
Yeah, that is true. That is actually a good point, because now that makes me think.
And she has no blood on her. So she was killed. I think it's fair to say she was killed. The question remains: how did someone get out of the room?
And why was she killed? Who was she?
Why? Yeah, I think she was a spy. To me, it seemed like black clothes, like really plain, nonchalant, but they're still expensive. Labels cut out doesn't really. I don't understand why that means spy, because it's just like, oh, I got this from Zara. Oh, you're a spy. I don't understand that, but
I suppose, but maybe it's not so much because I know that sometimes they track down the make of, like, let's say back in 1995. I don't know how mass produced everything was. I don't know if they would do it now.
Oh, I totally see what you mean. So because if they're really high end, then they might be able to backtrack as to who bought that piece of clothing.
Or like which shop sold this, and then it would be like, okay, they sold 300 of these in one day, and then they track down all the people that bought them, and then narrow it down that way. Nowadays, everything is like fast fashion, and it's, I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah, you get that. Okay, there's. Hang on. Oh, there's a photo of her legs there. I think that's her. I'll put these on screen.
So yeah, she does look like she's wearing tights and
heels.
Skirt.
It doesn't look like a traditional, like there's no blood really, like that's the pistol. So if you're listening, I'll try and explain it. It's just pictures of the murder scene, or the scene of the death, and then there's a picture of a pistol.
They don't show it's just her legs on.
Yeah, it's not anything.
And do we have any photos of her? Is it just drawings?
It's just a drawing.
Sketches.
That's her, I think.
Oh, she's got her hair's all cut. So she's got completely not long hair, like a
short black hair.
Very, very short hair. That makes me think again that she's in disguise or under
spy. It allows her to adopt
I wonder
many
if
different.
She's cut her hair so that she's not
put wigs on.
Wigs.
You know, you can do a lot of people. I don't think going out of the window is an option. Looking at these things, I think that's what the building is.
The Radisson's also quite a high end hotel.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
So, how has someone got out?
That's the.
Well, I think the person who delivered her the food is in on it.
That's throwing a curveball.
It's locked from inside. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the double bolt thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really throwing me off, because if that wasn't in place,
I'm just trying to see
I
if
wonder
can
if
find-
you know how like people are on death row and they have a final meal. I wonder if that's what she did, where she had her final meal.
Maybe, but yeah, it's
Because that's the only time she ordered any food to that place.
because you can.
Let me tell you, we're never staying in a Radisson.
It's right. They're really nice. I've stayed in them before. They
No.
are really nice. No,
I
no,
will never forget this.
no. No, they are really nice. I wouldn't put it on that. And also, it was in 1995. Don't you
I
think?
mean, it's not quite like the what's the hotel with Elisa Lam?
I know what you mean. Yeah, that one in LA.
It's like shout. There's probably people like shouting at the screen like it's this hotel. The Cecil Hotel.
That's it, Cecil.
It's not quite like that. It's very high quality.
So I think, do we both agree that she was killed?
No.
Okay.
Because of the bolts.
Yeah, it's
Unless someone climbed and went next door where the Belgian guy is.
No, he was across.
Across.
He was opposite. Oh, that's a point. You swing across, go out the window and try and swing yourself across.
The windows are really, really close to each other.
Yeah.
If we have a really professional spy on our hands.
Oh, here we go. What's this? Let's look at this
We have a floor plan.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the floor plan that it's talking about. Agree to all the cookies. But this Plaza Hotel, they look like skyscrapers. Like they're not. You're gonna hurt yourself if you go out the window.
That makes me think she did kill herself, but then how has she got no prints on that gun?
Yeah. Oh, come on, let me zoom in.
None of this makes sense.
Guess from the. Right. Okay. So, some points from the floor plan. It was floor 28. There's no way that they're getting out the window. Floor 28. No.
I can't believe this hotel has got no records of who is staying in what room.
Okay, so I'm about to give you. I'll give you what I'm seeing here. The information from the around the time of the murder.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so Jennifer Fergate was in obviously 2805. The room 2 doors down from her, 2801. Guests only checked in at 5 p.m. on the day the body was found. They were absent during the 7 to 9 p.m. time the body was discovered. The room next to her, 2807. Guests checked in on Saturday night but were out at a restaurant prior to the body being discovered. Across the room is this guy. They're calling him Mr. F, but this is the Belgian guy that was acting suspicious and the guy that said that he had heard about the death from reception when he was actually already gone. So that's that guy's room. And then next to Mr. F in 2806, the only guests contacted by police at the time, and they had nothing unusual to report. And all the way down to 2816, which is what was on the newspaper. No one knows who was in that. Next door, 2818, is that oh gosh, how am I going to pronounce this? Borghild Strandines was woken by loud noises on the Friday night. Looking at the distance to room 2805, it's more likely the sounds she heard came from room 2816. Did something happen from that room? So so there's a couple of rooms here where it's like, okay, is there some people conspiring to? But then,
I think she definitely died on that Friday, and they just found her on Saturday.
Yeah, but then who? What was the noise that came out of that room on the Saturday?
Someone leaving.
Someone fired, but then that's where someone could have fired like a warning shot into a pillow.
Yeah.
So they could have killed her, set up the room, and then someone's coming, shit, bang, shoot them in the
because
pillow.
the Belgian guy left on Friday. The job was done.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why he left and didn't, like.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's a very good point.
He has left the day that she has died.
Yeah.
And these people have heard a gunshot on Friday. She's died on Friday, and the Belgium guy directly opposite her has also left on Friday.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
But someone is still in the room until Saturday.
Yeah.
Who has
point.
done the
Oh,
some
I see,
sort
yeah.
of, so either left with a bang or somehow with a warning shot or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's very convenient that this guy who's suspicious and same country he's saying he's lying as well is right opposite her. He is like a watch person. He's on watch.
Oh, he's watching her.
He's
She's
watching
like for
her.
her leaving, coming back.
Yeah.
Messages someone else, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna do it tonight. Okay, goodbye."
Yeah,
I'll
he's
dip out,
an
yeah.
accessory or something.
Mhm.
And once he's not needed anymore, he leaves. But he knew that she had died before she was found.
Ah, smart. Interesting. Good.
I mean, all he has to do
theory.
is just look at the peephole.
Yeah, peephole. Yeah.
In his and
Just
he'll
sit there.
because he's got direct vision.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe he could have got a room further down, but he wouldn't have that vision all the time.
Yeah.
Her ins and outs.
So 2816. So the question is she maybe suspicious then? So she writes on the newspaper 2816, like, these guys seem a bit dodged. These guys could be like
Watching me.
watching me.
She maybe never suspected being watched so close by.
Well, someone might, if they never came out their room,
Yeah.
they were just watching through the peephole the whole time. How's she gonna know?
But also, if you thought someone was hiring someone to watch you, would you not think, okay, well, they're not going to be so close to me where I'm going to catch them?
But what?
So she's not going to suspect the closest room to her.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a way to latch the deadbolt back after you're out of the room.
Well, if
Like,
you're
you know,
a
you can
secret
do it with-
agent, maybe you
You know, you can
can.
do it with like strings and stuff. Like you hook a string around the bolt,
Yeah.
you close the door, and then you pull the string, and it'll like lock it. I don't know. I've just kind of guessed that, but hey, that could be it. But what about Lewis Fairgate?
So I think
What's happened to him?
Lewis is.
He's on a bolt after he's found out that she's dead.
I think
He's just disappeared.
I think he was just like he escorted her to where she needed to be. I think he set her up.
I think that he's also a spy, and they've gone in as a couple, or a married couple, and he's found out she's died, and he's just gone like because if they're watching a target, they'll probably take shifts, switch around, or he'll be following something else. He'll be doing something else.
But
He'll
he's
find out
never
she's
stayed
dead,
there.
and then he disappeared. How? Yeah, but you don't know that he's not stayed there. You know he's not slept there. Or he's
But
not slept
never
in the
been
bed.
seen. He's not been seen going in and out.
But no one's been seen going in and out. So he could have been
Has he
there.
got his own key card? Because all these in and outs might be him.
And yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. It could be, yeah. So they could have been, it's suspicious. I think, yeah. So I think to wrap this up, because this is quite a long one.
We
it
never
seems.
actually came to a conclusion, but I feel like it's impossible.
Well, my conclusion personally is spy assassinated.
I'm leaning towards that now.
Drugs is a good shout though.
But I just feel like drugs would not be this, just like...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let us know in the comments what you think. Please, as always, if you like this, please subscribe, leave a like, turn on that notification bell thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that does, but do it anyway. It helps us apparently. And
Any interaction is a good
yeah,
interaction.
and obviously shout out to Afia for bringing this case forward. It's led to a lot of debate, which is really good.
Thank you, Afia. That was really
Yeah.
good.
Fun fact: I watched the dogs at her wedding. I looked after her dogs.
Were you the dog minder?
Yeah.
So you were in the wedding.
I was privileged to be the dog minder.
You know that episode?
I was in the wedding. Yeah.
Episode
that
of
counts.
Friends
No.
with Chandler.
No.
Well, audience would know.
Okay.
Chandler had to mind the dog.
Inside
Oh no,
joke.
it wasn't Chandler. It was Ross.
But no, it was a privilege. It was a lovely wedding, and feel free to go back, check out all of our previous episodes. One's actually there's been a major discovery which we might cover.
Yeah, there's been an update to a case that we covered recently.
Yeah, I think we should wait for like lots of things to happen to all the cases we've covered, and then we can go in and like bulk do it.
Well, I feel like I'd never expected any of our cases would have a development because they're so deep into their mysteries. But we're going to wait until more developments, and then we might do an update or something like that.
Yeah, but thank you for listening, watching, viewing, subscribing, and we will see you on the next mystery.
Bye.